the hell happened to action games? Am I going crazy here? I know I mostly talk about RPGs, but most of my favorite games are action titles. Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2, Devil May Cry 3, and Bayonetta, they're all stone cold classics, and if those were the only games left in existence, I'd be set for life. Everything else is a bonus. But there's something wrong with each of these series, and here it is. The devs have no confidence in making a straightforward action game anymore. Everything has multiple playable characters now. Bayonetta 3 slotted Jean and Viola chapters into the mix, Devil May Cry 4 cut Dante's screen time in half, and Devil May Cry 5 marginalized him even further. And even though Devil May Cry 4 is blatantly unfinished, I still enjoyed it, half of it at least, but I was much less forgiving for Devil May Cry 5. Imagine investing all this effort into designing Dante's moveset, one of the best I've seen in any action game, and then telling the player he can't play as him for huge chunks of the game. Nero's kit doesn't feel anywhere near as fleshed out, and the V chapters are a slog and a half. And now, with the sudden resurrection of Ninja Gaiden, even Ryu is being kicked to the curb to accommodate a new character. And I'm sitting here stunned, wondering what Ninja Gaiden fans did to deserve this. I guess I should start with Platinum's involvement with Ninja Gaiden 4. Here's my one-word question. Why? And here's my 43-word question. Team Ninja is more than capable of developing this themselves. Just look at Nioh 2 and Stranger of Paradise. Hell, even Wolong was pretty good and doesn't get enough credit for its fantastic level design. So why bring Platinum into the fray? People give Platinum way too much credit. Yeah, Bayonetta 1 was fantastic, Vanquish was great, and Metal Gear Rising was also quite good. But for everything worthwhile Platinum's made, they made something equally not worthwhile. Infinite Space, Legend of Korra, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, World of Demons, Soul Cresta, and Babylon's Fall, these aren't average or middling games, they're terrible. Half of them are delisted, and some can't be played even if you wanted to. You probably haven't heard about most of these, and for good reason. And let's not forget about all the talent that jumped ship. Kamiya left to restart Clover Studio, Mikami bailed to start Tango over a decade ago, the director of Astral Chain, he's gone, the director of Bayonetta 3 is gone, Bayonetta Origins director, gone, even the Metal Gear Rising director hit the road. So who's left? The CEO, aka the guy who pushed for the studio to develop live service games. I suspect Platinum, not Team Ninja, are the ones that pushed for a new main character. And they're likely the team that decided to have this Mario 64 sliding stage and this Ratchet & Clank grind boots segment. Just stupid filler bullshit that sucks ass when you replay action games. Modern devs are afraid of making a straightforward action game. You know, just one guy running through a dozen stages without any minigames getting in the way. But why would people still be talking about Ninja Gaiden Black all these years later if it wasn't still enjoyable to play? That's one of the most pure action games ever made, rivaled only by its sequel. Sigma is widely regarded as inferior because it's got filler Rachel levels padding the runtime, and the same with Sigma 2. When you add multiple characters into a mix, it's clear as day that at least one of those characters is going to feel inferior, either because their moveset is too shallow, or the enemies weren't designed with their playstyle in mind. This was proven with V in Devil May Cry 5, Viola in Bayonetta 3, and all those girl chapters in Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Sigma 2. It's hard enough developing a single cohesive moveset, and now you want to challenge yourself by creating two or more? I know why they're doing this. It's for mass appeal. Aw man, Devil May Cry 5 has 3 playable characters. And while a casual player might gobble that up, I look at that and go, why do you hate Dante? Would Devil May Cry 3 be a better game if we tore Dante out after the second Virgil fight and played the rest as Lady? No, not a chance. Every action game is making concessions for mass appeal. God of War used to be about a pissed off roided guy that slept with hoes and killed everything in his path. It was a classic power fantasy. Now, it's about a soft-spoken father babysitting his kid, going on gentle boat rides, and letting people shout directions on how to solve elementary tier puzzles. And let's not forget about the forced walking. If you like this stuff, that's fine. But why did God of War, of all series, have to turn into this? Why not just make a brand new IP? Here's why. Modern devs have ideas for new IPs that no publisher would want to fund. So they take existing, proven franchises and shit them to make the games they want to make. And if you keep this up for long enough, the public becomes accustomed to this tripe. Look at Ninja Gaiden 4's official website. The sales pitch makes a point to say that this game is about a brand new character, and the intent is to appeal to, quote, a new generation of players. Is this truly a game for fans? Sure, Ninja Gaiden fans will play it, but if this were made for them, why would Team Ninja make it a point to reference newcomers in their sales pitch not once, but twice? Shouldn't you say this is a game made for fans? I'm a fan, and the last thing I would ever want is to hear that concessions are being made to attract new players. Go back and play the older games. They were ported to modern consoles and Steam, so there's no excuse. The Sigma games are still competent, even if they're not the best versions. I'm watching this trailer for Ninja Gaiden 4, and all I see are these blue Bayonetta 3 looking enemies bumbling around. Did the Platinum devs ever play Ninja Gaiden? Even on Path of the Warrior, even on Chapter 1, Ninja Gaiden 2 is a highly aggressive game. Enemies don't shamble around waiting for you to attack them. They're relentless. That's what makes the game so unique among action games. If you start to play too defensively and block everything, the enemies will grab you and literally go kamikaze on your ass. This trailer also shows that parrying is included. The current white-hot mechanic every single modern action game must include if it wants to succeed. Parrying existed in a DLC Hurricane pack for Ninja Gaiden 2004. It was called Intercept, and the invulnerability frames it conferred were so incredibly broken that the move was removed wholesale from Black and never implemented in 2. This was back when Itagaki still worked on this series, a man that intentionally designed Ninja Gaiden to appeal to the hardcore crowd. Plenty of games are already accessible, so if that's what you want, go play them. Why does every game need to be accessible? Parrying goes against the ethos of Ninja Gaiden, which is to encourage offensive play. Blocking's extremely important, but Ninja Gaiden punishes you for being passive. Waiting to parry an attack is not at all what Ninja Gaiden is about. Itagaki learned from his mistake and immediately corrected it. Here we are 20 years later, and his successors are making that same mistake. Ninja Gaiden is also not Nier Automata or Final Fantasy XVI. Both games Platinum assisted with, and both include this same slow-mo dodge we're seeing in Ninja Gaiden 4. Platinum has very few IPs it actually owns. I think just the Wonderful 101. The rest are owned by Konami, Sega, Nintendo, Square Enix, or their licensed cartoons. So their mission statement is to take on contract work and homogenize every single action game they can get their hands on, rather than creating their own series. They don't understand what makes Ninja Gaiden, so they're just gonna turn it into Nier Automata and Metal Gear Rising. Koei Tecmo doesn't care, because those games are popular. And if it gets Ninja Gaiden 4 to sell more copies, so much the better. They're a publicly traded company, so the only thing that matters is profit. With Devil May Cry 5, Nero has less combat options than Dante, V has less options than Nero, and both have compulsory missions, which means less time spent playing the combat at peak capacity as Dante. Bayonetta also fell victim to this in Bayonetta 3. Jean has sneaking missions that have nothing to do with Bayonetta's gameplay. Viola turns a series that wasn't about parrying into a game that's about parrying. But even Bayonetta herself doesn't play like Bayonetta. This feels like a sequel to Astral Chain, where your summons dish out the most damage. Platinum completely gave up on establishing a strong core moveset and having the game revolve around getting comfortable with it. Now it's about switching between characters, babysitting your summons, and turning every boss fight into a minigame. How is this an action game and not Mario Party? A strong action game understands that fundamentals are what matter, not variety. The depth comes from the combat system, not quick-time events. These set-piece moments are great for trailers, and casual players eat them up left and right, but they do not belong in a hardcore, serious action game. The Wonderful 101 has a fantastic combat system, but it's undermined by 50% of the experience being plagued with minigames. Minigames lack depth because they need to be easy to pick up and play. That's why they're mini. They have zero reason for inclusion in any high skill level action game. Keep them locked to RPGs, crafting sims, and party games. I want to point out that I don't think Ninja Gaiden 4 will be bad because Ryu isn't the main character. Rather, stop and ask yourself, what reason is there to introduce a new protagonist? Is it just a simple cosmetic change and the core gameplay the series is known for will remain intact? Or could it be an excuse to include parries and perfect dodges, slow-mo, and slow enemies that you can style on for crazy combos? Pulling off an impressive combo in Devil May Cry is easy because the enemies don't behave like the ones in Ninja Gaiden. Try pulling off something impressive in Ninja Gaiden when you're trying to dodge 500 incendiary shurikens. I guess I'm disappointed that yet another series I love is abusing the goodwill of fans to introduce something different. The best way to guarantee sales is to appeal to fans and newcomers alike. And before you think I'm a hater of new things, here's the twist I've been saving throughout this entire video. I love modern action games. I really do. Stellar Blade is an incredible experience. Neo 2 is one of my favorite games ever, and it was directed by the director of Ninja Gaiden 3, which proves that he's not a bad director, he's just not a good fit for Ninja Gaiden. Hell, even Platinum's made good stuff in the past decade. Astral Chain is really good. I hate that Bayonetta 3 turned into Astral Chain, because I would have been happy to get Astral Chain 2 and a Bayonetta 3 that plays like the first two games. And with Ninja Gaiden 4, if this were a brand new IP, I wouldn't complain. It looks reasonably fun. But it doesn't look like Ninja Gaiden, and the problem is that it is Ninja Gaiden. The likelihood that we get new games that play like Black and 2 is gonna plummet, because this is the new direction for the series. It's not a spin-off, it's Ninja Gaiden 4. It's a mainline entry. That is the crux of my issue. When a series changes course and that new direction proves to be more popular, the old games are lost in the wake. I guess you could boil down my entire argument to multiple playable characters bad, one playable character good. Maybe that sounds idiotic to you, but I'd rather have one amazing character that feels so much fun to play with than 2 or 3 that feel good, but not great. Less is more and all that. I'll still play Ninja Gaiden 4. There really wasn't a question if I would or wouldn't. But if my concerns prove to be true, you better believe I'll be back.